Hey everybody! This is episode 3 of our Crescent City series. We are so excited to talk about through chapter 50. I think the thing we might all be the most excited about is to keep reading to chapter 51. Hopefully everybody else feels that way too. I will say right off the bat, I can't wait until I can keep reading and know what happens. And I love that I went from starting the book and being like, I know I'm gonna love it eventually, but I'm not there yet, to now like, oh my God, what happens? I need to know. So that's a really nice change.
Yeah, things are certainly picking up.
Yes, that was my thought. I was just like, okay, we're in it. Like things are happening relationship wise, subplot wise, main plot wise. It's great. It's all really good stuff. So if anybody's reading along with us, I hope you feel the same way, but let us know. Maybe someone got bored along the way. I would be so curious to hear why. But yeah, Elena, what do you have for us this time?
Um, that's a great question. Let me exit out. I had this in full screen mode by mistake. I need to
What
look at our notes.
what questions and theories do you want to get our read on?
Oh my god, I should have come in prepared with a first question.
Be
I
prepared.
just, I, I felt so prepared because I signed on and my headphones worked this time. Now I need to think.
Right. Yeah, we're finally getting to the point where we have fewer tech issues.
Now it's just content issues.
Just content.
I feel like one of the biggest thing in these chapters is you guys met the medwitch that takes care of Rune. I think that was these chapters. You met her a few times. What were your thoughts on those interactions? Like, are they gonna end up together? Like, is that a thing? Or was that a one time he saw her and now she's gone forever?
I mean, I know I already spammed both of your text inboxes the minute I read it, but Jamie, do you want to start with like your first read through the chapter, like what your thoughts were?
It n I Brooke, I feel like you should go
You
first.
want me to go first?
Yeah.
Um,
You guys
all
do
right.
have different opinions, I
Yeah,
think.
we have different opinions.
I had a very strong, almost immediate opinion that has not been corroborated yet. But I mean, basically, Rune is going to see if he can do some research to figure out if he can talk to a medwitch and figure out if there might be like a healing option for fixing the horn. Right? I think that was his mo going in. So he goes to talk to the medwitch and meets her, says like, hey, I'd like to have a conversation, and happens to call her by the name on the nameplate on the desk. And then she's like, oh no, sorry, that's my sister, not me. No further comment. And then's like, why don't you go sit in the garden and I'll be right there. And then they have like a really nice conversation where she's super helpful, like doesn't have the right information, but says that she's going to find it and get back to him. And they end up sort of talking about hypaxia and the past queen. And for me, like when they got to the hypaxia conversation was when I was sure that she is hypaxia, but it was like midway through the conversation where I'm like, okay, Rune's catching feelings for this gorgeous medwitch. Like he's arranged marriage to some witch queen. Like that's going to be inconvenient. But I was like, I mean, she's here for a reason. So either she is going to be like she's going to create an issue with the arranged marriage and she's not hypaxia. But I believe that she is, because it seems too coincidental that we go through this whole scene and we've seen her again now. She's met Rune one more time, still has not introduced herself. So it's like very, very suspicious. And she just sort of mentions, like, oh, I'm in town for a little bit, like just helping out my sister at her medwitch clinic. And I'm like, why are you in town? Is it for a summit? And are you just hiding your true identity, you gorgeous, good smelling medwitch? So that's my theory, is that we've already met her, Rune's already fallen for her, and at some point he's going to realize that she is his betrothed and then probably have some uh, conflicting emotions about that.
Or she's just not important enough to get a name, like credit
That's not true.
line,
No.
random medwitch number 1.
How many random medwitches are there, Elena?
Don't worry about it.
In the credits, Medwitch 1, Medwitch 2. She's got
Medwitch
to be
with red
somebody.
hair.
Yeah. She has to be somebody. Like, I feel like those are the two options. She could either be a complication or she is Hypaxia. But Jamie, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts were.
Okay, I did not pick up that it could be hypaxia, but that's a really good theory. Um, I just remember like they were kind of like hyping her up too. Like she's very smart for her age. It takes a lot of time and a lot of schooling to get where a typical witch would be to be a med witch, I guess. Um, it takes time, and so she's very smart for her age, and I think that's the only thing I picked up.
I
Yeah,
think
and
she
that
also
she
mentions that she knows like ancient languages or one ancient
yeah,
language, which is
she have
like
like
the
tutors and
typical extra education you would get if you were a princess.
yeah, great catch on those. I just like I don't know. I didn't pick up that she could be hypaxia. I mean, although there was language that says like her aura or like the way she talks and walks is very queen-like.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a
that was
great
spot
line that
on.
you caught. That
Yeah,
was real because I
that
did
was when
not
I was
catch that.
rereading to catch up on like this first meeting or conversation between them.
Yeah, it was the my biggest clue was the I'm just not going to tell you my name. It was like if she was random, then she'd be like, "My name's Sam." You know, like we would have already crossed that bridge. But the fact that like she definitely so if she's Hypaxia, like she knows Rune. So I think she's purposely not introducing herself because she's probably a little nervous. Like I'm
We
guessing that
often ask.
right. I just think that she's probably a little nervous about actually meeting him for the first time and being like, "Hey, we're supposed to get married. How do you feel about that?" Because I mean, like, if I were her, I would be totally like, "Please marry me, Rune." Oh my god.
Right. You
Um,
just need to scope him out first, see what he's like.
right, right. And I think she probably didn't think she was going to bump into him. So I'm guessing it was like a split second, like, I'm nervous, I'm not going to introduce myself decision rather than like a really calculated um, like decision to withhold the information. But for
I
me, it was like when they mentioned Hypaxia or Rune mentions the queen, and there's this moment where the med witch is very upset. Like you can tell she's super bummed, and I think more bummed than like a regular witch would be about losing her queen, and more like the extra depression of losing your mom, who you love, which they kind of talk about how Hypaxia is still in mourning for her mom. And it's like, yeah, I see it right here in front of me. I'm so sorry.
It could also be that she, is very just upset that the queen has
It,
passed.
it could be. It could
This is
be.
all in the assumption that
Yeah.
this mysterious med witch is hypaxia. I'm still on the fence that it could not be her. It's someone else.
All right. I
Also,
can't
if
wait to
it
find
is
out.
hypaxia, it's gonna make a really awkward like introduction between her and Rune when she's like, "Hello, I didn't tell you my name, but
Yeah.
we're gonna be married." Like, I
I
feel like it's
think
just putting the awkwardness off if she is.
yeah. And I think that that sort of like leads in perfectly to like what we talked about before, which is like the arranged to love marriage, which like it's going to start out rocky because he's going to be like, you withheld information. Also, I'm conflicted because you're hot, but my dad wants me to marry you. So I don't want to marry you, but I do want to marry you. And there's just going to be all sorts of stuff. So I can't wait for that scene where he's like, oh my God, this is my to be wife. What do I do?
There's also the part I don't know. I'm on the fence of it because like she's not She doesn't have, like she's not anywhere on social media, she's never had her picture taken, we don't know what Hypaxia looks like. So, I'm second guessing because if it was her, what is she doing out in the open? Is she supposed to be in, like, kinda in hiding or avoiding the media? Because if you're out looking at crime scenes and stuff, I think you might get your picture taken.
Yeah. I think this is like perfect female main character like activity though, where she's like supposed to be a princess now queen, but is like going through all of this emotional stuff and it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do the thing that I love, which is healing people. And nobody knows what I look like, so I'm just gonna blend into the background and like pretend to be normal and it's gonna make me feel better. And then she's like, oh shit, that's my maybe husband. Now what do I do? I love her, and I hope it's her because that would make things less complicated.
What if she's, like, under, like, a glamour type of thing?
Ooh. Yeah, there hasn't been glamoring in this series yet, has
No.
there?
Oh,
Hmm.
there oh, in another series, but we just can't talk about.
Right, that's why I said this hasn't come up in this series yet. What,
I feel like
Elena?
I'm forgetting a big scene in another series.
Oh my god, no. We're gonna go right over that. There has not been any sort of glamoring or, like, magical
Uh-huh.
use of, like keeping your face hidden or like
Yeah.
magically altering what you can see. So I don't know, but it could be.
Okay.
Maybe she's
There,
super ugly. Nope.
she doesn't actually exist.
She
She
doesn't actually
does.
smell like eucalyptus and
Oh,
the
I
other
think it
thing.
was eucalyptus and lavender. I think it was eucalyptus and lavender, and I was like, I love how Sarah does that with all of her like main love interests too. She gives them like a scent profile. I'm just like, oh, I love how everyone comes with a candle. Like it's so great.
Love it.
How do we feel about other new character introductions? Like Therian, I know you guys also just met. My mer guy.
I'm hesitant also not to talk about other SJM novels, but there have definitely been introductions of cool new characters that I have loved that have ended up being awful. So I'm a little concerned, but so far he seems really cool. Drop Dead Gorgeous too, which doesn't hurt, but I'm very
Mhm.
intrigued by the under the water world, and I hope we go there eventually.
Same. I think I'm on the side of trusting Therion Ketos, because
Yeah.
he's been a longtime friend of Hunt, and I trust Hunt.
Mhm.
So I think they're in good hands, maybe. As long as he doesn't drag any human brides down.
I love how he kind of not threatened, but was just like, "Hey, how do you feel about swimming?" And I was like, "Ooh, Therian." Ask me, I love swimming.
A little bit weird that there aren't theories. Therian is hypaxia.
Therian's not Hypax. What a twist! Hypaxia is not
Absolutely
only a
no.
witch queen, she's
Absolutely.
also a mermaid. No.
She's under a mermaid glamour.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be like a little too deep, Elena. Like everybody knows Therian. A little too deep. Was that a pun? I think that was a pun. No, but he seems cool. I'm not worried about him taking Bryce. Like I think that Bryce is super into Hunt, obviously. But it
Mhm.
was very cute to see Hunt watch Therian try to steal his lady. He was just like, "Oh my god, I'm not going to punch him." It was cute.
I like how when he was awesome. When he was introduced, we were kind of fangirling over him and trying to pair him up with, if not Bryce, then who else? Oh, Lahila or Lahaba.
Yeah, I have a very I mean, like, I at first I said, like, "Oh, Therian should be with Leheba," as just, like, a funny, like, "We gotta find our girl a boy," but I was like, "How cute would it be to have, like, the prince of the water world with a fire sprite?" That would be complicated and cute.
When opposites attract.
Yeah. It's like, how would that work?
Would it ruin all of your theories if I said he was already engaged?
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But why?
Is it because he's Hypaxia?
He is Hypaxia. It's
Oh my
really
Mystery
God.
solved.
oh my goodness. I don't know, you just like I got really upset when you said he was already engaged, which yeah, I'm sad now.
Maybe he might be. Who knows? Just
You better be worthy of him. Also, okay, wait, if he's already engaged and like loves the person he's engaged to, he shouldn't be flirting with Bryce.
did
Now
I
I have a
say
problem
he
with
loves the
Arian.
person? Did I say he loves the person?
Oh my goodness, I need to know now. I need to know.
Is it another
Arranged
arranged marriage?
He doesn't even know Rune yet.
He's not Hypaxia. I don't think everyone's Hypaxia. Just the really suspicious medwitch that doesn't introduce herself, smells really good, is super hot, and is very sad about the dead queen. All signs point to Hypaxia.
Ginger is Hypaxia.
Leheba is Hypaxia. Just unpack that later.
Right.
Bryce is Hypaxia.
She's the
Oh my goodness.
murderer. She's starborn. She's the seventh Asteri.
Yeah, that was a line. That was
Both of those are big theories. First that she's Starborn and that she's a Stary.
Yeah.
Elena, we will find all the lines and we will connect them with red yarn and it will work. But
Okay,
yeah,
well, I
Jamie.
know she said it jokingly to Lava. I'm pretty sure I'm saying her name wrong.
Yeah. Sarah, help. How do we pronounce
Yeah.
the fire sprite's name?
But what if Bryce is the seventh Asteri?
So I don't remember like the history. I know that the seventh Asteri is dead. But yeah, when Bryce makes a joke about like, yeah, and I'm the seventh Asteri, I was just like, wait a minute. Because I mean, my hope is that we are going toward like full societal like breakdown. So maybe the Asteri become different, super powerful, potentially starborn people.
I have no idea.
I just thought it was
I feel like
cool, and it.
there hasn't been a lot of talk about the Asteri. There was one when Bryce, I think, I forget who, but just whoever was strolling, looking through the news on TV,
Yeah.
and there was one mention of one of the Asteri, and it was like Regulus, I think his name was,
We
and
love Regulus.
ooh,
Ooh. Is he really nice like Micah is, Elena?
Yeah.
we need to talk about Brooke's hatred for Micah.
Oh, we can
Hates
discuss that.
Micah.
I will discuss my hatred for Micah as long as you would like.
I keep saying, what if Micah turns into a very similar character in one of Sarah's books? Like that you don't like.
You're getting too close, Elena. You're getting too close. Yes, yes. I do. I hear you. I hear you. But I don't think he's getting a redemption arc. I don't think it's happening.
Hey, can you remind us why you don't like him?
Can I remind you and our viewers slash listeners why I don't like Micah?
Yes.
Like a bulleted list. I mean, honestly, like I think the biggest thing is that he seems super fake and he's definitely hiding stuff. He's out for himself. He's promoting slavery. He's got a ton of slaves, is totally okay with it, yanking them along. I mean, you guys have mentioned like, oh, well, like Hunt's got to finish his bargain or like his deal with Micah. No, he doesn't. Like at any point, Micah could just be like, you are no longer a slave. Like it would be that simple, but he doesn't. I hate him. And I think
All-
he's murdering people all over town.
I think that all Micah is hiding is his love for Bryce.
You know what? That's the other thing. That's the other thing that I hate about him is that he went, I found a hot, probably slutty girl, and I want her for myself. Does he love her? No. He's just like, that is a hot piece of ass, and I would like it for myself for, 5 to 10 hours, and then I will get rid of it. And he thinks he is owed her, and it makes me angry.
Because she saved him.
No, I think he just thinks he's owed whatever he wants. Again, like people want things. Micah wants what he wants and he thinks he can get it. And I don't think that we've heard the last of Micah being angry that Bryce said no to him, especially because he's going to realize, if he hasn't already, that the reason that one of the reasons Bryce is saying no to him is because she's into Hunt. And Micah can make Hunt's life miserable. And people who make Hunt's life miserable are on my shit list.
I guess I can't say he hasn't made Hunt's life miserable. He kind of has.
Yeah.
Go murder people in cold for me, servant slave. I hate Micah.
I think he's fake, but he could have like an underlining type of mission, and he's doing all these things as against maybe the asteroid because he's the only archangel that is offering the angels or the slaves a bargain. So look at Hunt. He decreased his like 2,000 debts down to 10. And he's the only one that is doing that. Also, maybe he is in love with Bryce. She's the one that saved him from the Crystallis. But then what was your other theory about that he was the one summoning, or you think that he's the murderer?
I do. And I mean, so the murderer has definitely gotten more complicated since our last episode, right? Like we now have more information about the murders. So I'd love to like pick that apart and see what you guys think. But I still believe that Micah is either a murderer or one of the murderers. And I think that there's a good chance that the Crystallos was coming back to him after killing Danica and the pack because he was the one that summoned it. And either it was his first time summoning an eldritch demon, so it just didn't go well, or something happened and it attacked him.
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
know
just think
if-
Micah's really stupid.
I don't know if I do think he's stupid. I mean, I think summoning a big nasty demon is probably very tricky, and I get that like it could probably go wrong even if you're like super powerful, but it seems to me that there was no other reason why Micah, like governor of the whole city, should have been in a deep dark alley getting attacked by a monster. Like it's just too coincidental, and Sarah is an amazing writer, so there had to be a reason.
There are definitely other possible reasons. Like, we know Micah really likes hooking up with random girls in shady parts of the city.
Did I miss that?
No, we're extrapolating.
Yeah, we are extrapolating.
Yeah, we don't know why he was in the alley at that particular time.
And he hid it, right? Like he still doesn't even want Bryce to know that he was the one that she helped save. Like nobody knows that that was Micah. And he hid the Crystallos attack on Bryce and Hunt in the park as well, destroying evidence in a current investigation, either just to save his image or because he's the murderer.
Okay, but who
I
do
hate
you
him.
dislike more, Micah or Sabine? Like, if you had to rank who you think is the worst person.
Still don't like Sabine, but I still think Micah could be like a good guy underneath. Like I don't think he's I don't think he's the murderer. There's just like things that aren't adding up, and I feel like he's definitely hiding something.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pick which one I hate more because I think that they're bad people for different reasons. I think I would still go with Micah, only because I think that Sabine is like, obviously she's caustic and like not a nice cuddly person, but I think especially in the last like 10 chapters we've learned that a lot of what she's done has been to protect her daughter, which I have a lot of respect for. Like definitely like putting her own career on the line to try to save Danica's image. And I think that she's so nasty to Bryce because she genuinely believes that Bryce was a bad influence on Danica. Like, totally misplaced, obviously, but I think that I now have a better understanding of her motives. So I at least see her as a redeemable character. Micah, I don't. I don't see where it could happen. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. I feel like we need to have a whole episode once we finish all of the SJM novels just about villains. Be like, let's talk about villains, and that's all I'll say.
Mhm. Have you guys you never found Danica's sword still, right?
No,
That Sabina is actively looking for?
but I have a theory now.
Oh?
Yeah.
What's the theory now? I don't think this was in the text change.
No, we haven't. We have not pre-discussed this, but I know I brought up the fact that when Hunt is talking, I don't think he's talking to Bryce about it, but Hunt brings up his memory of the sailings for Danica and the pack. And the sailing is like their cultural, like they put people in boats that have passed on, and it's sort of like getting them to the next world, or like actually like the bone quarter. It's like they're passing on into the realm of the dead. And in his sort of like talking about that, I remembered that while the sailings are happening, Bryce is off doing something else. And I remembered that chapter 7, which is like all of 2 pages long, Bryce takes a boat over to the bone quarter during the sailings because she wasn't invited. And I think the sword is there. I don't know. It's not in a locker still, and it can't be in Bryce's. Like, it's not with Jelly Jubilee or whatever the cute
Maybe it's
unicorn's
just
name.
hanging out in her bedroom.
It's
Maybe
just
it's
in
just
her
chilling.
bedroom. It's in the
Honestly,
left.
that was my
It's in the left
theory, that it was
nightstand.
still in Jessica's locker. Hasn't moved for 2 years.
Yeah. No, I don't think the sword is in the locker. I don't think it's in the linen closet with the unicorn stuffies. I don't think it's in the left nightstand. I think it's in the bone quarter.
I feel like it would be hard, like if she ever wanted it back, to get it from the bone quarter, though. It just seems like an inconvenient place. And also, like, does she really want to keep it away from Sabine enough that she like went to the bone quarter to get rid of it? Like, I don't understand how, like, what the motive would be.
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet, Elena, but I keep like my brain keeps trying to figure out what was she doing. And I don't think that she was finding a way to get Danica back to life because like she's still very distraught about her death. Like I don't think she found closure with any of them because again, like still like a lot of emotional turmoil. So I'm just like, why did you go? And those are
So
the two things that I don't know. I can't figure them out, so I'm wondering if they're the same thing.
I
I
wonder
feel
what
like
happened first, like, when she was on the edge and Juniper had to come walk her like, talk her off the edge, or, like, did that happen first and then the visit to the Bone Quarter gates, or, which came first? I mean, it had something to do with her mental health too, and the
Yeah.
grief and the loss of Danica and the Pack of Devils.
I think that Bryce's near suicide attempt was after the sailings. And the only reason that I think that, I don't know if we could go back in and find out for sure, but she mentions how like the public was being awful to her once her text messages leaked. And that like again and again she was getting harassed. And then it was that final it was like people printed out flyers. it had something to do with the text messages and
Yeah,
about
there
how
was like
she
a
was like the
video too, or someone.
yeah, so it just
Um,
seemed like it was a big buildup. It wasn't like all of a sudden she was getting harassed and then she felt like that was her only option. It was like it had been going on for a while. So to me, I think that happened second.
So too. I mean, I it's been a while since I've read it, but I remember interpreting it as after.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just my current theory
Mhm.
for why she went
Oh,
over to the bone quarter.
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it opens up a question of like theories about why she would have gone to the bone quarter if not to hide the sword. Are there any other things that need to be hidden?
Are there?
I mean, there was also the theory that the dead. I think was Hunt's POV,
Mm.
Mhm.
where he thought the dead roamed the bone carter and hasn't been confirmed. Then maybe that's why not Danica, Bryce wanted to go over there to see if it was true or she can see Danica again.
It's interesting though, because I think in Hunt's like thoughts of that, he mentions that like anybody who goes into the bone quarter doesn't come out. It's like a mortals do not come here. So I'm like, okay, did she just go to the steps? Because that's really all we see is she like gets off the boat, is on the steps of the bone quarter, and then some creature comes out and meets her. And that's
It's the
it.
Crystallos. That's when she starts summoning the
Bryce is the murderer.
Crystallos.
Done. We solved it. Just keeps coming back to Bryce.
I mean, everything keeps coming back to Bryce. Is it because she's the main character, or is it because she's the murderer?
Or both.
She has killed before.
Yeah, I don't
True.
know. I don't know for sure. But she definitely did something.
I
And we
don't
got a
know what,
sword.
but it was something.
It was something. That's my
There
current
was
theory.
there was a purpose.
The sword is in the bone quarter. And I think it's because Bryce really wanted to hide it and no one would go to look there. We'll see. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope we'll find out where that sword is.
Um, talking about swords, I feel like we kind of I think there were conversations about the star sword that came up in these chapters.
And the
Yeah.
dagger that goes with it. The
Yep.
missing dagger.
Things to hide.
That's true. That's true. I don't think we know where the dagger is though. Or I mean maybe Bryce does, but yeah, Rune tells us about like the Fae. I don't think it's a prophecy technically, but about how there used to be a dagger that went with the Star Sword, and that there's some sort of Fae prophecy or something about how putting them back together will, I think, bring the Fae back together. Like, okay, cool. Now we have to find a dagger. Nice.
Wait, is that the exact words of the prophecy?
I don't remember what it was.
I really
I
Amy,
should
do
have
you
read
remember
don't
what
that.
chapter
remember
it's in?
that, but I remember that one can't work without the other.
I'm gonna have
So
to look
Rune
it
has
up
just
before
been
next
walking
time
around with
with a
a
sword.
sword that isn't to his full potential.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you guys think Bryce is gonna find the dagger.
I think it
Wow.
might be connected with when she finds out that she's starborn. If there's like a similar process that Rune went through where he realized he was starborn and then like, pulled the sword from the stone, as it were. I'm wondering if Bryce will have a similar moment where she's like, "Oh, I'm starborn. Look, a dagger." I don't know. But I'm gonna
I
have to
feel
look
like
up the actual prophecy
yeah, if that's the
language.
prophecy, I'm very shook for reasons that are
I am because the Fae dissolve, they never come back together. All right, fine, 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 Elena.
yeah,
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense if that's the prophecy. You can't
I
Is
might
that
be wrong. What Jamie said does sound familiar that like they have to be together in order to do something, but I forget what it was specifically. But I'll find out before episode 4 and report back.
does
sounds
anyone
good.
remember um how Rune came to get the Star Sword? Like, did that happen during his drop? Or I don't think we talked about this, but I guess Fays go through um an ordeal. That's what they call
That's
it.
it.
Yeah. So yeah, when did he get the sword? And because maybe
During
that
his
ties in
ordeal.
with if because Bryce still hasn't done hers. So and does she need to do an ordeal? I don't think that has come up either. But to go with Brooke's theory that if she does drop or does an ordeal, then the sword or the missing dagger would reveal itself for her to that. If my thinking is correct.
It was the
She's
ordeal.
yet.
What
What,
was that?
Elena?
Oh no, she's Starborn and fated to find the dagger. It's all hypothetical.
It is all
So hypothetical. Definitely not main character. Definitely not gonna get really good powers or find a dagger. Certainly not.
What was I was thinking something. Oh, so I think you find out more about the details of Rune's ordeal in book 2. Because like you get the whole story eventually about kind of how he finds it and why it's important to him. Um, which is interesting. There's a new
Yeah.
character in book 2 that we have feelings about that was
Whoa,
involved.
I think I know.
guys!
Wait, Jamie, how do you know?
I don't know.
No, you definitely don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
think I know what you think.
I gotta finish
I don't
this
know.
book
You know.
first. I know that you know that I don't know. That's
I
all
know
I
that you
know.
But Alina, we're just like we're giving all this information. We're just like piecing all these gaps together.
Yeah.
Like this is the murderer. Lahiba's hypaxia.
Yeah. So is Therian. They're both
So is
hypaxia.
Therian.
She's
Oh, and
schizophrenic, but it's in 2 different bodies.
imagine like
Micah's
you
been
get to
the
the
good
end of
guy
the
the whole time.
What a twist.
Danica is hypaxia, she faked her death.
But
Oh my
is
god, I have
still
thought about
getting
that. What
married.
if Danica faked her death? Wouldn't that be something?
Well, so that actually reminded me of what I wanted to talk about with the murders because I was gonna say, she was a pile of red goo, so I don't think that she faked her own death, but maybe. Um,
Maybe
but
mommy
that
did.
bring what, Jamie?
I said maybe mommy did.
Yeah, Sabine killed all of them. Oh my
No, I
goodness.
mean she helped cover it up. If she was able to help
Oh,
cover the footage with Danica because she stole the horn,
stealing the horn.
maybe she's protecting her by like faking her death.
Yeah. Yeah, actually that's a good thing to start with before I go on to the murders and why they're kind of squirrely now. But do we all believe Sabine that Danica stole the horn? I do. For some odd reason I trust her. Elena, I have too much information. What do you
I
think, Jamie?
can't compute.
Ah, that was honestly that was a little hard to take in because I was
Yeah.
totally against Sabine. I could see it go either way. That she could be lying or she could be telling the truth.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't as hard for me to believe because we got like a glimmer of the fact that Danica might have been a little rebellious against the society that they're in right now. So to me, I think that it sort of lines up with Danica potentially being a part of some sort of rebellion group and stealing the horn for that purpose. I don't know like what specifically that would be, like how she or the group that she might be a part of think that opening the Northern Rift is going to help. Um, but I was like, yeah, that kind of checks out. Like if our girl was doing some stuff behind the scenes to try to bring about societal collapse, which I'm always ready with the popcorn for some societal collapse. So
Yeah. One thing I struggled with, I think, was the idea that Bryce wouldn't have known, like since they
mm,
were best friends and like so close. Like the idea that Danica could have stolen it and she didn't know, or like if Danica did fake her death, like why it would be Sabine that helped and not Bryce. Like, it just seems like it would be a lot to put Bryce through and not tell her.
Yeah, I don't believe that Danica faked her own death. Like, I think she is unfortunately very dead. But it's just interesting to think about like the different rebellions that might have been going on. Like we've got potentially Danica working with some group to undermine the society. Maybe we've got Briggs who, led a very violent semi-rebellion for the humans. We've got Hunt who led a whole army to try to, bring about some sort of change. It's just like very interesting the different ways that we potentially have people trying to undermine what I think is a very problematic society that's totally based on slavery. And I hate Micah.
I was gonna say that's how you know a society is great. Multiple rebellion attempts.
Based on slavery. Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I was thinking about the fact that I think we realize that Danica stole the horn, but Danica definitely didn't kill herself and I'm assuming like she wasn't behind that other. Wait, Jamie, do you have a theory?
No,
You
well,
think
it just reminded me that their deaths are very different from the
yes.
other deaths.
And that's the thing that we sort of figure out right at the end of chapter 50, which is like, I need to get to chapter 51 and figure out what we're doing with this. But Bryce does realize that when she found Danica and the pack's dead bodies, they were sort of like hull. Like,
Pile.
yes, like almost barely recognizable. Like I think she did recognize them, obviously, because she knew like who was where, but like obliterated bodies. Yeah, I think she does call them piles. But all of the crystallos attacks are like bites and like like an animal attack more. Even like I mean, obviously she saw Micah get attacked by the crystallos. So now they're posing this theory that something different killed Danica and the pack than the crystallos, even
Mhm.
though Bryce chased the crystallos from the apartment after the murders. It just blows my mind. Like,
Right.
okay, are these connected? Are they different?
Yeah. But there's also the theory that the characters brought up that there is more than one demon that was summoned.
Yes. It's like,
Multiple demons.
yeah, is the same person summoning different demons? Or did like one person or group want to kill Danica and the pack potentially for stealing the horn? And then there are these other murders. I don't know. I don't have a good theory. I just thought it was really interesting
Yeah.
that
I
we've
don't
got
either.
all of this.
Guys, I'm just here for the romance.
Where's the romance?
Book 2.
No!
I know it's all building up. It's all building up. This is a really good slow burn.
That's too much of a buildup. A whole book? A whole book? This size?
What if Bryce says too much is going on? I want to take things slow. We can't have sex, Hunt.
I'm gonna be like, okay, Bryce. Okay, you don't want to get your heart broken. I totally understand. Is this when you guys become friends with benefit?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like it'll hurt me a little bit that they're gonna be like, no, let's pretend like we don't have feelings for each other. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They keep like getting really close to being like, I've got a thing for you. Let's make out. And then people keep interrupting them and it makes me angry.
So many close moments. You're
So many
making
close moments. So many. I can't wait a whole book. So I genuinely hope that they don't go the whole rest of the book not making it.
There's just a lot to unpack in Crescent City. I still want to know
Yes.
more about the other courts, side characters, if Labo ends up with anyone.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to keep reading. which I will probably do immediately after this.
So, what do you guys so at the end of chapter 50, Bryce has someone in mind that to see next. Any idea who it is? Because I have no idea.
Well, so they just finished talking about the fact that they think that there are like multiple demons being summoned. So I have to assume it has to do with that. I have no idea like what the next step is.
Yeah. And it seems like she thinks that Hunt might not like her idea. So I'm just wondering, oh, who could it be?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely dangerous. Like it's got to be dangerous. He's not going to like it.
Yeah.
Has Hunt ever liked any of her ideas? Has she ever had an idea and Hunt's gone, let's do it?
Ooh.
I think
I mean,
usually
he did play along with um her meeting with the Viper Queen, and even before that scene, when she was trying to buy the obsidian salt, he played along with that, even though he didn't know in the beginning, like why he was what they were doing there in the first place.
yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that I think mostly Brace comes up with ideas and then doesn't tell Hunt and just goes and does them. And then he shows up halfway through and is like, okay, is this what we're doing? Like, you couldn't just tell me about it beforehand. She's like, I knew you'd show up. I can't actually think of a specific plan that she had that she told him about ahead of time and like either got buy-in or was rejected.
That's how you know it's a stable relationship.
Certainly not
Community.
stable yet. Or certainly not stable yet. Got a lot of PTSD we still got to work through on both sides.
And trust.
But I think we're getting there. I think we're slowly getting there, like with all of their little like maybe this time, and then they get interrupted. Like I think it's helping break down Hunt's walls that he's erected from like his past love life, and I think Bryce is definitely more into him emotionally, and she's just sort of worried about the fact that he's not emotionally available and getting hurt.
Mm, yeah. I think as long as they heal together and that their end game.
Yes. Well, and it makes me think of a specific moment where Hunt is like in sitting in a chair on the opposite side of the desk that Bryce is sitting at doing work in the antiquities shop. And she just like is recognizing how hot he is and is like, if this was any other guy, I would already be like around the desk, like in that chair with him, doing unspeakable things. But she doesn't. And like, I think that that is really important. Like, I think that even subconsciously, she recognizes that like Hunt is different. Like, she doesn't want to just hook up with him. Like, he's important. And the fact that he's got these emotional hangups like makes her pause where she usually wouldn't with other people. So I love it and I'll wait, but I'm not waiting until book 2.
I think you're gonna have to.
No, I refuse. I refuse. I refuse.
Oh, then I guess you have to read the book too pretty quick.
Just gonna have to write my own fanfic chapters.
Deleted
Deleted scenes.
scenes, book 1.
Yep.
Where are you guys reading to next? Part
Um,
3?
yeah, I think we're finishing part 3 because chapter 50 is like right in the middle of part 3. So we're reading through chapter 67 for our next episode. So yeah, everybody jump back in if you haven't already. We had to stop, but if you just like kept going and you know more than us, I'm super jealous. But we'll catch up to you, you catch up to us, and we'll meet back here and chat up to the end of part 3. Thanks, guys. Bye.